If you have ever thought or felt like you are failing in life, then watch this video to the end, because what I'm going to talk about is purposely for you who feel or think this way. I honestly believe that if you think or feel this way, it is not because you are lazy. It is not because perhaps you lack talent, opportunity, or the right connections. In fact, it is not because God has abandoned you or you don't even believe in God anymore. I think the real reason is because nobody has actually sat us down to teach us how to think. Yes, how to think. That's the root of the problem. So we are going to the root, and until you fix things at the root level, everything else is maintenance on a burning house. Let me ask you something. How many times in your life have you started over? Like a new week, a new year, a new month. You make new plans, new resolution. You try to bring in new things to start afresh so that you have fresh energy to do whatever you want to do. However, in the next couple of days, that energy and zeal you started with begins to go down, and eventually, before you know it, you are back at where you started. The same version of yourself you swore you were done with. How many times have you lost someone? A relationship, a friend, someone who really mattered to you, and you couldn't explain why it fell apart. You knew something went wrong, but you just cannot name what actually went wrong. And let me ask you again, how many times have you prayed, like genuinely prayed, and then you felt like nothing was moving? And this is not because you stopped believing, but because you just couldn't connect the God that you believe in to the life that you are actually living. If any of that landed, then stay with me, because I'm going to explain what is actually happening underneath it all. Now, here is the uncomfortable truth, and I want you to sit with it. Most of the problem that young people are facing, young men and young women are facing right now, are not actually spiritual problems. They are not even really emotional problems. They are actually problems in how you think. The structure of the way you think may be broken, and everything you try to build on a broken structure will just not do well. It will crack. In psychology, there is a name for it. It's called cognitive architecture. How your mind organizes information, how your mind processes pain, how your mind interprets your relationships, and what happens in them. And if that structure is cracked, then everything built on it will crack too, and it's just not going to do well. And here's where it gets more uncomfortable. Most of us never chose this structure. It was pushed down onto us. It was put inside us by our parents, by our society, by our friends, by our failures, by what we were never taught, by what hurt us before we even had the words to describe them. Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23 says that above all else, guard your heart, for all you do flows from it. That word there, heart, in Hebrew is lev, and it doesn't just mean feeling. It also means the center of your will, your intellect, your desire, the place where you process life itself. Now, Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived, looked at all of human suffering and all of human life and said, the source is in how people process life. Everything flows from there. So if your heart, your mind, how you process things is unguarded, untrained, unexamined, everything that you do will flow from that too. Now, I want to show you 3 ways in which this shows up, because I want you to see yourself in this and not just hear a concept. The first one is you react instead of responding. And note that there is a difference. Reacting is automatic, it is in talking. Responding is intentional, and it is character talking. When someone says something that hits a nerve, you react. When you make plans and it doesn't go the way you planned it to, you react. When God doesn't move on your timeline, you react with doubt, with frustration, and with pulling back. You've actually never been taught to pause between what happens and what to do about it. That gap, that penny space, is where your character is either built or destroyed. The second one is you confuse motion with progress. You are busy planning, posting and hustling, but then nothing is actually changing. And that is because motion without a direction is energy wasted going nowhere. And direction requires a kind of clarity that most people haven't actually sat down to build. The third one is that you are building your identity on the wrong kind of foundation. Your confidence lives inside a relationship. And once that relationship is no more, your confidence goes with it. It's like your self-worth is tied to what you achieve. So when you fail, you just don't feel bad about what's happened. You feel like you are the failure. Your faith is real, but then it's more decoration than function. It looks like faith, but then it doesn't govern your decisions. I am not saying this to condemn anyone. I am saying this because I have lived through every single one of those things. I know what it feels like to have your life look put together from the outside and feel like it is crumbling on the inside. I know what it means to pray with genuine faith, but then you make every decision out of a place of fear. I've been there. And that is why I am here. Not as someone who has it all sorted out, no, but as someone who is still figuring it out and not wanting to keep the information to myself. I know for a fact that knowing the root cause of this problem is going to help us understand how we can go about to fix them. So let's look at the fix. Yes, the things that we can do to fix them. I'm going to give you 3 things. Of course, there may be more, but for this content, just 3. The first one is mindset. Before we talk about strategies, habits, and tactics, we have to look at how we process life. Not what you do, but how you think. That means understanding your own pattern. Understanding why you do what you do before you try to change it. The second thing is discipline. Real discipline, not the Instagram type of discipline. I wake up at 5 a.m. just as a performance to show up. No. The kind that flows from identity. The kind that Hebrews 12 calls training for righteousness. That kind that produces a man or woman whose words mean something to themselves and to the people who are around them. And the third one is faith. Faith not as a decoration, not as a last resort when everything else has failed, but then faith as your operating system. The framework through which you understand psychology, relationships, and purpose. In fact, all of it. But faith that codes all the questions and still stand. Mindset, discipline, and faith. These are the 3 keys I'm giving you in this video. And working to improve on all these 3 is going to drastically improve your life, and you're going to see results in the shortest possible time. Now, here's a challenge I have for you. Not a new habit or a routine. Just questions I want you to sit with. Ask yourself, where in my life am I reacting instead of responding? Where am I mistakenly being busy with actually moving forward? And what is my identity actually built on? Not what I say it is built on. You have to know what it is actually built on when things go wrong. And I think you should write it down. Don't just think about it, but you should have a journal or a diary. Write it down and review the answers. Because what you should know is that awareness without action is just entertainment. And as I said in my earlier video, I am not here to entertain anyone. I am here for us to build solid and better versions of ourselves. I want you to push yourself towards something real and solid. Now, my name is Komla Daniel, and this is just the beginning. And if you are here watching this, even up to this point, then you are already ahead of the one who won't face the truth about themselves. And I would like you to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it to your friends or other people who you want to help. And stick around because the next episode goes deeper. Each episode is a specific piece of the answer, but then it starts right here with the diagnosis. The life that you want is on the other side of the thinking that you haven't done yet. Let's do it together.